it's interesting because this program is called Star-Spangled Heroes. And there were many people who came to me with us who said, I'm not a hero. I did what I was expected to do. I'm a veteran. I care about my country. And it was interesting because when we met with Dan Corbett, his statement was, I'm not a hero, but everyone who serves in the U.S. military is. And coming from another veteran and acknowledging the rest of other veterans, to me, it was a very, very powerful statement. We do have amongst us as well a hero. I met Brigadier General Ierzek several years ago in this very room. We had an event for Holocaust survivors, and it was part of our event called Band and Burn, which was all about the burning of books. And Brigadier General Ierzek was here because he had been involved with in liberating a forced labor camp. And what was so interesting, and this room was packed full of people sitting at tables, was there was someone in the room who he actually liberated. It was a very powerful moment. General Ierzek is a very powerful and inspirational individual. And his campaigns throughout Europe and his really are legendary. And there are books that you can read about them. And in the display upstairs, there's a full panel dedicated to General Ierzek and his efforts. And we're very proud to have him here. General Ierzek, would you come forward, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, friends of our veterans, fellow veterans, our nation's treasure, our nation's gem. It's the young people who put on a military uniform and serve our country. I said young people. How often do we think about, perhaps realize, that over the decades and during the time of my military service, which ended 43 years ago, our young people fought and won our nation's battles. Young people, 18, 19, 20, 21, many of them fibbed about their age, 17, not old enough to buy a beer, but old enough to die for their country. Those are our young people. I was terribly blessed because my calling was the military. I served my country for 31 years. My army and my country 31 years. During that time, during those 31 years, there was hardly a day passed that I didn't have some close association with those young soldiers. I served with them at Fort Knox, Fort Dix, Fort Devens, Fort Myer, Fort Oglethorpe, Fort Ethan Allen. I trained with them at Pine Camp, Carolina maneuvers, Tennessee maneuvers, 10 months in the Mojave Desert, Camp Bowie, Texas, Salisbury Plains of England. And I fought with them, World War II, and in Vietnam. In addition to that, I had an extremely close relationship that I think is unbelievable to you. But during World War II, I was in a tank. My tank was in the 4th Armored Division. My 4th Armored Division was Patton Spearhead all across Europe. I was a member of a tank crew, Sherman tank crew, 5 individuals, 4 others, and me. That tank was our home. home, not on wheels, but on tracks. That tank moved every day for 10 months. That tank moved every day for 3,500 miles crisscrossing Europe. The amazing thing, that crew and I, we moved in that tank, we lived in that tank, we ate in that tank, we slept in that tank, and that tank was also more than a home, it was also our firing platform, because our tank cannon was part of our tank. So those are the individuals that I associated with for 41 years. I saw them meet every possible challenge. I saw them under every possible circumstance. And America just has to buzz with pride over the young Americans that we have raised. Now it's those young Americans that are today our veterans. And they collectively, with all our predecessors, are the ones that you've heard repeated over and over, that have saved and retained our great freedoms. They saved and retained a fabulous way of life, which only we Americans have. No other nation comes close. So, the young men have become veterans. And unfortunately, I don't think that our country has ever wholly accepted the greatness of the young people. And in recent years, we've had Veterans Day. And the important events for Veterans Day seem to be furniture sales, car sales. So today, as I look out here, I'm absolutely delighted and thrilled that this community has come together as it has. I know what's been involved here. There have been meetings and meetings and hours of hard work. And you've come to recognize a local community come, I think, to richly recognize what our veterans are and what they have done. And now you've come up with this absolutely grand tribute. You're recognizing what the veterans have done. So I'm deeply grateful to you. And for my fellow veterans who I admire greatly, I extend to you my deep appreciation. This is so wholesome, and I'm deeply touched. So to all of you today who are involved in what is happening today and what will happen during the days, each day during the next 2 months, my hat is off to you. And I salute you for what you've done.
In the service. We also have a number of films we're going to be showing, and with followed by discussions. A week from this Sunday, we're going to have a kids program where kids will be asked to write letters to veterans in convalescent centers and nursing homes and long-term care facilities. And, and this will be for small children, probably ages 5 to 10. Encourage them to come. They're going to be able to write letters, and there's going to be a lot of patriotic singing and the like. And if you're a veteran and you'd like to be there, that would be great. We're going to have a panel of women from the 1940s on. We're going to talk about having been soldiers. We have a World War II photographer. And I've seen his photos are very powerful, and Mark has worked with him as well on this project. And he's going to talk about his photographs on October 26th, on Meet the Vets Day. We're going to have an event called Carols in Paradise. Tony Marconi from the historic side is an incredibly talented individual, but also very knowledgeable individual. And he's going to talk about World War II and the response to, from Palm Beach County to what was going on overseas. He is with the Historical Society and Palm Beach County Historic Society, and Jeremy Johnson is here as well. And we're honored to work collaboratively with them, and there's a panel that acknowledges that collaborative effort, and we're very honored to do that. Thanks to one member of our committee, we're going to have a seminar on PTSD, a Lunch and Learn seminar, so people can know more about PTSD and become more familiar with it and be aware of it, and we hope a lot of people will attend that as well. There's activities, there's programs, a lot of people who worked on this and helped make it possible. And as I said as well, on your chair is information about the essay contest. We hope as many kids as possible will write essays about the volunteer service versus the draft. It was interesting how many veterans, it really was 50-50. Some said, we need to have a draft. Others said, no more draft. It should be a choice. Others said, it should be a choice, but everyone needs to do some kind of service. So we really had a wide range of responses from the veterans. It'd be interesting to see what the young people say about service. In addition, there's information about the library on your chair, and I hope that you'll take it and you'll look at it, and you'll be supportive of this library because we need you. It's through the foundation that we're able to do additional services and programs such as this and many others that the library has as well. Again, it's not in the program. It's going to be just for veterans who are being acknowledged because if their photographs were taken, we're going to have a tribute to them. You'll get a special invitation for this. Your photograph will be framed as well so that you have permanent remembrance of this experience. And that's on November 14th. And we're very fortunate that Mayor Moyo has consented to joining us, as well as Commissioner Taylor, who is the mayor of Palm Beach County, and we believe there's going to be some other major dignitaries there as well. Before I close, I just want to say that all of you are very special people. I'm not a veteran, but my dad was. My dad was my best friend. And he died in 1976, and he was in Fiji, and he was in the South Pacific. I knew we had to do something for veterans that was more powerful than a single day. And I hope to see you all on that single day, thanks to Charlotte, with the Veterans Day Parade. We had to do more. We have to do much more. Okay? All of you need to be engaged in helping us, just as Brigadier General Alvin Herzog said, in really being responsive to the new veterans that are going to be coming back home. The Afghan veterans and other groups, the veterans that will be coming home, they need our support. We need to reach out to them. We need to be mindful that the multiple deployments and the things that they've gone through are very, very tough. Very, very tough. You're all heroes in my eyes. And I thank you all the veterans who are here today, for your support. I thank my committee who worked with me for over a year and went through some crazy times with me. Okay, I'm willing to admit that. Okay, so when are we doing it already? Okay, but patience is a virtue, and thank you for being virtuous. I really am grateful for that. Very, very grateful. That the cemetery, the National Cemetery on 441 gave us these wonderful little flags as a remembrance of today as well, and we're going to have some additional ones available for other veterans as well.
Jim Sugarman and the Library Foundation for the work that they did putting this together. Thank you, Fred, and your co-chair for putting this event together. I'm married to a veteran. I've been married to him for 44 years, if you can believe that. But he's a Vietnam veteran. He was in the Marine Corps and spent several years in Vietnam. And I have to tell you, when he came back, we were together. Now we hadn't been married yet, but we were together. And it was such a difficult transition. If you recall, and I know many of you will, when the Vietnam veterans came back from war, they were not well treated. And I remember times when we were kicked out of places because he said he was a Vietnam veteran. I remember when he got on a bus and didn't have the correct change and they made him get off the bus. I remember that how difficult it was for many, many, many years for us to go to 4th of July celebrations because of the fireworks. So now, and I bring this up because I want to make sure that the young men and women coming back from the work that they're doing for our country are treated with respect and dignity. So let's make sure that that happens, and I know you will, of course. But there are so many veterans now who are homeless, so many veterans who don't have jobs, that we really have to work together to make sure that that happens. So this is a wonderful event to honor all of you who have served our country and who have left a little piece of you in some other country because you knew how important it was to take care of the United States.
All of this was made possible because of sponsors. And without sponsors, we could not have had this exhibition up on the 4th floor. The exhibition will be open for 2 months. And as you can see, there are a lot of other programs as well. There's a Star Spangled Heroes brochure as well that tells you about all the programs that we have. So how many were in the Navy? How many were in the Marines? How many in the Army? How many Coast Guard?
Air Force.
Air Force! Actually, I was surprised that he was willing to be so sharing. His story is really a fascinating one. He believes in this country, he comes from a family that said country first. And his passion for his country is really phenomenal. And he was in Vietnam, and regretfully he's now suffering as a result of it because he had Agent Orange, and it affected him very seriously. But the stories and the power of what he did on those swift boats, and the turning it over to the Vietnamese men who were on his boat with him, very powerful story, very powerful message. I'm proud to know all of you. I thank you all for being